Today we are making a video on Edubuntu 23.04, which is Lunar Lobster. Edubuntu is a flavor of Ubuntu 23.04 Lunar Lobster. Ubuntu 23.04 and other of its flavors released in a few days back. So here is the boot menu. Try or install Edubuntu is a live boot, or you can directly install it from here. So these are some other options like Edubuntu Safe Graphics, OEM install for manufacturers, and the test memory. Let's quickly boot in a live mode. It's always a good option to boot it in a live mode first. Then if you are satisfied for using for hours, if you don't find any bugs, you can go with the installation after using the live boot. So I'm running it on a virtual machine, which is a VMware with 80 GB of hard disk, 4 GB of RAM and 2 processors. So here is the Edubuntu logo. So it should take a maximum of 1 minute or minimum of 30 to 40 seconds, because that's the usual timing of every Linux distro. I'm talking only about the best Linux distros like with the good ISO files and popularity Linux distros always boot in like 30 to 40 seconds. Some of the distributions which are worst like a Deepin Linux, it could take like a minute or not a minute, it should take like a 2 minutes or 1.5 minute. Some distributions like that will take a lot of time. Even sometimes the alpha version, beta version or the development version, they will take a lot of time because it's correct because they are in development stage. So if it takes a time, there is no problem. If the stable ISO also takes that much time, that's the problem here with the Deepin Linux. So we have our desktop loaded completely. This is a stable version. If you want to try it a stable version, you can try it. Always try to boot it in a live mode and then go with the installation if you want. So I'm running it on a VMware, so I don't need to be worried because I will delete as soon as the content is completed or the video completed. So it is taking like 30 to 35 seconds almost. We should be having our desktop loaded completely now, because the mouse is almost stuck here. We should be getting our desktop layout in any seconds. So I'll be posting 2 videos daily without missing any day. I'm doing this from past 5 to 6 years. That's the sound of the Edubuntu Linux distro. It's not from me. So I'll be posting 2 videos daily, so check that out after watching this video. So here is the 2 options to boot the Linux distro. First one is to boot live mode or the live boot, and this is to directly install and use the Linux distro. It's always a better idea, or my opinion or my tip from me, to always boot it in a live boot first. After satisfied without any bugs, go with the installation. So first you need to choose your language. There are plenty of languages available because it's a Ubuntu. Not Ubuntu, it's almost every Linux distro provides almost every languages. So let me choose English and try Edubuntu. It should take a maximum of 20 seconds or minimum of 15 to 20 or 30 seconds like that. Maximum should be that much, and we should be having our desktop loaded completely. As you can see, our Mouser is almost ready. Just a few more seconds, we should be having our Edubuntu 23.04 Lunar Lobster completely loaded, and it's a stable version, so remember that too. It's not a beta version. I already made a beta version and a pre-release before. If you want to check that out, you can check that out. That makes no sense because it's already a stable version. No need to check the old versions. Only if you want, you can check that out. Other than that, no problem. So here is our mouse cursor. It takes almost like a minute to completely load up till the desktop like this. It took like almost a minute or minute and 15 seconds like that. So that's the thing here. So let me change the display resolution because it looks odd. So let's first change the display setting. Right clicking on the mouse cursor or mouse pointer should launch the display setting, or you can directly go to the app menu and settings and then display settings. My monitor is 1920 into 1080. So I'm going to choose that with a 16:9 ratio. If you can't see the text or a font size or an icon, you can change the scale up to 200%. There is also fractional scanning. 1920 into 1080 with 120% or 150% should be the best option or the best setting. That's my recommendation. So let's go to the about section and check out the distro information. They don't provide everything in the about information. I will show you the complete information in a few seconds by typing in the terminal. So the device name is Edubuntu. You can change it whatever you want. Again, remember, whatever you change in the live boot after restarting your PC, it's going to roll back again to the same thing. So never save anything in the live boot. If you want to save anything, you need to install it, because the live boot going to erase everything again. So memory is 4 GB RAM, which I already mentioned. This is my CPU, and this is the graphics. Disk capacity is this. OS name is Ubuntu 23.04, because it's a flavor of a Ubuntu, so it's going to say Ubuntu. It's a 64-bit architecture, and 32-bit architecture is not available in the Ubuntu. You already know 32-bit is not available in almost every Linux distro. Just a few Linux distro has the 32-bit now. So the GNOME version is not available right now. It should be available in a few seconds. I will show you in the terminal command, so don't worry. Windows system is X11. Virtualization VMware. The machine is virtualization VMware, because I'm running it on a VMware, so it says like that. A kernel version is a Linux 6.2.0-20 generic. The latest version of the Linux kernel is 6.3, which is released yesterday. So the version is 6.2 here, but still the latest, so no need to worry about the kernel. So let's close this thing and open the system monitor, and let's check the system monitor and see how much resources are consumed before the apps. I'm going to open the system monitor again at the end, so you should be having an idea of how much resources are consumed before and after using the Linux distro. So let's type in system monitor, because system monitor is not visible in the here. So here is our system monitor. Let me open the system monitor. So let me maximize this thing. So these are all the processes running right now, as you can see. And the resources is here. Let me change the color first of the CPU too, so you can properly look at these things. There should be always a high peak in the beginning, and you should run it at least 60 seconds or 1 minute. So you should be having an idea of how much graph is up or down. So if it goes stable after the high peak, so it's pretty common. So let us run until 1 minute, and the memory is almost a 1.6 GB. If you are having a 2 GB of RAM, it's going to not work for you, because it's almost a 1.6 GB in just the beginning of the video. And here you can see there is a bug already. The application notes has closed unexpectedly. Send problem report to the developers. That's the reason I told you to always boot it in a live boot first. If it's a minor, it's okay. If it's a major thing, that's going to ruin your PC. That's the reason I said to always boot it in a live boot. I don't want you to ruin your PC. That's the reason I always say always boot it in a live boot first, then go with the installation. So right now is almost a 1.6 GB of RAM. That's pretty much more. So it's up to you to judge to use this Linux distro or not. I'm going to open the system monitor again at the end of the video. So let's see how much resources will be consuming after running all the apps and going through settings, all the features, all those things. So let's check the about system monitor. It's a GNOME 44 desktop environment, so it's going to say system monitor as a 44, because the apps which comes with the GNOME desktop environment will be the version of the GNOME desktop environment. So let's close this thing and open the terminal. So let's type in here instead of searching from every place. Terminal. Here is our terminal. It's a bit of delay because I don't know what is happening with the Linux distro. It's taking a few seconds to boot up or load up to launch the apps. Let me change the theme first so you can see properly. Theme, not the themes. Let's go to the profiles or unnamed colors and change the color to black and white so you can properly see now. Again we got a bug here. Don't send. So let's type in the command which will grab every distro info. which is inxi-sv8. We should grab all the distro info. inxi is not installed, so let's first install the inxi by copying the sudo apt install and paste it and click on enter. It's going to take a few seconds. You need to type Y for yes to install and N for no to not to install. I'm going to choose Y for install. It's going to take like a 25 to 30 seconds a maximum, and we should be having our inxi installed. Then let's type in this command which will grab every distro info. So it's almost complete, I guess. Let me copy this thing command. Again, try to ignore the background noise because construction is going around my house. So inxi-sv8, we should be getting all the distro info right now. As you can see, we got every distro info. Let me quickly scroll upside and show you every information. System. Under system, it's a host Edubuntu. This Linux distro is Edubuntu, so it says Edubuntu. Kernel is a 6.2.0, which I already mentioned or said, and it's a 64-bit architecture. Compiler is not available. A GNOME version is a 44.0. GTK version is 3.24.37. GDM3 version is a 44.0, and its a distro is Ubuntu 23.04 Lunar Lobster. And under machine it says VMware because I'm running it on a VMware. BIOS Phoenix version is a 6.0, and under the memory, which is a 4 GB of RAM, is the space I gave for the RAM for the VMware, and it's the 1.5 GB almost the used RAM, so which is almost a 40%. And here is my CPU. If you want to go through all my CPU information, here is the CPU information. So let's scroll it down and find other information like a display is a X11, server Xorg version is a 1.21.1.7 with the XVLAN version 22.1.8. So let's scroll it down. Under monitors, these are the available display resolutions, and API OpenGL version is 4.1. Mesa is 23.0.2, and the Pipewire version is a 0.3.65. So let's scroll it down again, and we should be getting our information. Shell Bash version is 5.2.15. Init systemd version is a 252. GCC is a 12.2.0. INXI version is 3.3.25. Processors running right now are 279, and uptime is 10 minutes. And wake ups are 45. So let's type in the same information like this. We should be getting in a short form. For example, like a command is inxi, which will give the same information just in a short form. There's nothing different information here, just the short form, which is inxi-G. We should also get the same information, inxi-small b. Again, we should be getting the same information from the above, just in a short form. So let's type in cat etc issue, hit enter. Ubuntu 23.04. So let's type in neofetch if it's available. If it's not available, you can install it by typing the sudo apt install neofetch. Let me even show you that too. Let's copy the command and type in, hit enter. It's going to ask Y. Click on Y to install. It should take a few seconds to install, and we should be having our neofetch installed. After neofetch, I'm going to show you the desktop, and let's see other features of the Edubuntu later. After doing all these things, it's almost complete. Let me show you the neofetch first. Type in neofetch, and here is the neofetch: operating system, host, kernel, uptime, packages, shell, resolutions, desktop environment. These are all the available things here. If you want to go through all this, you can read it by pausing the video. Let me type in hdstop. Hdstop is also not installed. Let me install. This is the command to install the hdstop, which is sudo apt install hdstop. Copy and paste the command and click on enter. It's going to be installed in a 12 seconds like that. Maximum it should take like a 12 seconds. It is already installed. Let me click on the command or type in the command, which is a hdstop. Here is the memory, here is the CPU, here are the tasks, as you can see. So that's it, we got every distro information. So let's check the info about the terminal. Version is 3.48.0 for GNOME 44. So we got everything. So let us close this thing, and let me show you how to go to their website and download. So let's open the Firefox web browser. This is the default web browser for almost every Linux distro and every Ubuntu flavors or Ubuntu. So we have the Firefox launched, almost like 10 seconds or 12 seconds it took. So about Firefox, let's check the version, which is 311.0.1. So let me type in the search term, which is Edubuntu 23.04. Instead of Edubuntu, it says Redubuntu. No, we don't want to type in like that. We need Edubuntu, so let's Edubuntu. So it says a beta version, but don't worry, it's going to open the stable release, because as soon as the stable release is released, the beta version will be not available. So it says beta here. As you can see, there is no ISO file here. So let's go to parent director. As you can see, it's a beta version, and here is the release. This is the URL. If you want to type in the URL, you can type it, or just type in this URL to get to the stable version, or you can type in this just Edubuntu, which will take directly to their official website. So let me close this thing. So here is the stable release or a stable ISO file. You should always check that there is nothing in front of the code name. Like a code name is Luna Lobster, there is nothing like a beta or a daily build. That's the reason you can say it's a stable version or a stable ISO file. So the file size is around 5.2 GB. That's a big file size. If you are having a limited internet connection, you should be very careful to download this thing. If you have unlimited internet connection, no problem with that. So here is a Edubuntu, and let me download and show you the file. It's almost a 5.2 GB, so it's clearly up to you to download or not. It's going to consume that much resources. You can judge on your own. I don't need to say you to use it or not. You can you can judge on your own. So let me close this thing. So this is the download process of Edubuntu. Let me close this thing, and let's go to the installation process. Click on open. Here is the installer or the installation software. So Ubuntu 23.04 with a GNOME desktop environment has the new installer. So other than the Ubuntu, that's the sound of the Edubuntu again. Only Ubuntu 23.04 has the new installer. Other flavors of Ubuntu doesn't have that installer. The new installer is almost pretty fast, but other installers are still using the old style of installation process or the installer. So first you need to go with the language. This is the same and the basic installation process in every Linux distro, so no need to be scared of anything here. There is nothing complicated here. So first you need to choose your language. There are plenty of languages. Click on continue. I'm going to choose English as a language, and here is a keyboard layout. You need to choose your own language here. I'm just keeping the English United States on the both side. You can test your keyboard even here. You can detect your keyboard layout also. Click on continue, and here are the updates and other software. After downloading a 5.2 GB of file size, none of the people will go with the minimal installation, because everyone wants the every app. For example, under normal installation, you get a web browser, utilities, office software, games and media players. You get everything in the normal installation. In the minimal installation, you just get a web browser and a basic utilities. Basic utilities means like a calculator, mouse pad, like text editor, like that, some basic things. So it's always better to go with the normal installation. And under other options, you will be getting a download updates while installing Edubuntu. Install third-party software for graphics and Wi-Fi hardware and additional media formats. I am going to check these buttons, because check this both options, because it's going to save time before the installation. It's going to take time in the installation process. If you want to customize on your own, you can uncheck these things, and you can do that later. If you ask my opinion, you can do it right now, because it's going to save time. It's clearly up to you to use check these buttons or not. So I'm going to continue. It's going to say preparing Ubuntu drivers. It's going to take like a 30 to 40 seconds, a maximum that much time, and we should be having our other options like a partitioning, all these things. So instead of waiting for this, let's go to the Edubuntu features, like this GNOME desktop environment. After installing the Edubuntu or the Ubuntu flavors, you should be having a new option called background apps here under the night light and dark style. So that's the new thing in the GNOME desktop environment, which is version 44. So this is the language selections. You can choose any language here. So we have our installation type, which is loaded almost in 30 seconds, under 30 seconds. So the under installation type, this is the option which is going to erase like a current operating system, files, formats, everything it's going to delete, and it will install the Edubuntu. This is the single boot option, and this is the dual boot option. You can resize, you can create a partition, all these things on your own. So this is going to dual boot. This is going to give you dual boot option. If you want to use the dual operating systems, you can go with this option. If you want to single boot, you can do that. So be careful while doing these things. Only these things should be careful, because it's going to delete everything. So be careful while doing these things. Don't just blindly click on next like that. Be careful, and you need to be having an idea of what you're doing here. So that's the installation process. After clicking on install now, it's going to take a minimum of 5 to 10 minutes, or maximum like 20 minutes. All depends on your PC, depends on the Linux distro. So after the installation, it's going to say finish and reboot your PC, and the Edubuntu Linux distro should be installed on your hard disk if you choose the hard disk, SSD if you choose, or VMware or VirtualBox, whatever you choose, it will be going to installed completely on that device or on the disk. So that's the installation process. Let me close the installation process. Let's go through some of the features, desktop features, like a calendar, some wallpapers. Let's go to settings, and let's go through all these things. Bluetooth, appearance. On the appearance, we can change the accent colors and some of the wallpapers. This is just for the education people who are using for the education. This is the best Linux distro. I'm not going to say the best Linux distro, but it's one of the best Linux distro. They have bugs, but it is working good. Right now we first encountered 2 bugs, no problem. Use it on your own if you want. So these are the options to change the theme. Again, the wallpaper or the theme changing takes a lot of time in the Ubuntu's, so it is taking a lot of time. So it is also stuck or the freezed here. So as you can see, I'm trying to change the other options. It is stuck there or freezed on the themes. So we need to wait for a few more seconds, I guess, and it crashed, and it should open again. It happened in the beta version also, and it says the application settings has been closed unexpectedly, send problem. So these are the things happens while you use the Linux distro. So that's the reason I always say you to use it in a live boot first, then go with the installation. This is the main reason I always say you or warn you to use this first in a live boot. So let me change the wallpaper, and let's go to other options like a dock or a desktop. You can customize all these things on your own. Search, multitasking, apps, and privacy. And under privacy, you will get a device manager as a new option in the GNOME desktop 44. Online accounts, sharing, sound. These are the sound options. Displays, power options, mouse and touchpad. This is a new option which is a natural and traditional, which was already present in the older desktop environment, which is GNOME 43 like that. But this is the new animation which you can see here. That's the only difference here. Keyboard, same things. printers, removable media, color, region and language, accessibility, user. Under accessibility there is also new options like a seeing, which I already made like videos on every GNOME 44 based Linux distro, but I'm going to show it again. Hearing, typing, pointing and clicking, zoom. These are the options. If you want to customize, you can customize on your own. Users, default apps, date and time, and this is the about. So let me close this thing, and let's go to all the pre-installed apps or apps which comes pre-installed in the Edubuntu. Let's see all the apps, which is additional drivers. Under the art you get a drawing, GIMP or a new image manipulation program, Inkscape, library CAD, Tux Paint configuration. And here is a clocks, contacts. These are all the default apps from the GNOME desktop environment, so no need to check this thing. And the version for this will be almost the same as the GNOME desktop environment, which should be 44. So that's not going to change. And Edubuntu information and admin. Here are some of the apps. And Endeavor, extensions. Under games we have 3 games. I hope they are the best games because it will be a time when you are free you can play these games. GBrainy, Gcompress, Gparted, Htop, Image Magic, language and learning. We have like I think 10 to 12 apps, I guess. Language support, LibreOffice applications icons has been changed. As you can see, the new icons are here. And maps, Marble. Under mathematics you have 7 apps. All the study apps is available here. Not almost, just a few of the apps, but it's also important. So we have science app here, social sciences, settings, software and updates, software updater, startup applications. Under technology we have like 6 apps, text editor, and these are the utilities from the GNOME desktop environment. And weather. These are all the apps which comes pre-installed. So these are all the things. Instead of opening every app, let's go to the Ubuntu software manager or the app store, whatever you call it. Let's open there and check the version right there. So instead of opening every app, it's going to take a lot of time. So instead of wasting that time, let's open the software manager and check their versions right there. It's going to take a few seconds to load up, and we should be having our software manager or the Ubuntu software manager to be opened. Software updates ready to install. We have already a notification here. It should take a few more seconds. Instead of waiting for that, let's it opened, so that's good. So let's maximize first and let's see what are the updates. Just a Firefox update and a Snapd, and the installed apps should be seen here. So let's just open the important apps, not every app, because there are plenty of apps right here. It's going to take ages to open everything. So let's just check the LibreOffice and some of 3 to 4 apps. And we should be having our system monitor launched again at the end of the video, so we can judge there by seeing the RAM resources and CPU usage. And here are the apps. Let's only open the important app, for example GIMP, because GIMP is widely used from every person in every Linux distro. The version is 2.10.34. We saw GIMP, and Inkscape should be 1.1, I guess, 1.2.2. What else we left is LibreOffice. The version should be same for every LibreOffice application. For example, like a LibreOffice Draw, Calculator, like that. Version is 7.5.2. And the maps, clock, the version should be 4.44 because it comes with GNOME 44. So the version is also 44. So what else we left is I think we don't get left anything. So that's the thing of the applications. Let me open the system monitor now, and instead of system monitor I opened desktop. Let me open the system monitor by typing here, for example, system monitor. System monitor should be available in the utilities. So here are the resources. It's almost a 2.2 GB. Before the video starting, or in the beginning of the video, it was like a 1.6 GB or 1.7 GB. Right now it's a 2.1 and 2.2 GB, almost like a 300 to 400% of RAM consumed. We just opened a few of the apps, we ran through something like a features of a wallpaper settings like that, and we have almost 400 MB extra here. We didn't open LibreOffice, GIMP, anything. We just opened a software manager, that's it. So it is consuming like this. It's up to you to judge or use on your own. If you want to use it, you can use it. If you don't want, it's clearly up to you. So here is the CPU. CPU is almost stable, but the RAM is like this. Only if you have a 4 GB of RAM, you should be good to use this Linux distro. If you have 2 GB of RAM, it will be very hard to use, because in a 2 GB of RAM it will be like a 1.8 GB, and it's almost 300 MB extra. Where you get from 300 MB from other like this? So it's up to you to judge to use this Linux distro or not. So let me close this thing and end the video. So I'll be posting 2 videos daily. So I posted this one. I already posted another video. If you want to check that out after watching this video completely. So again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up button. It helps make a good content for you. Other than that, I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Peace out.